Gentleman yields back to the lady from Texas to recognize.
Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there. Even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem, the one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions.
September 17th, 2025, 9:47 a.m., Rayburn House Office Building, room 2141. The hallway is already a zoo. Journalists sprint. Staffers scream into their phones. Capitol Police officers push back cameras trying to force their way in. Inside, it's worse. The room is packed to bursting. 400 seats, 600 people standing, interns sitting cross-legged in the aisles, reporters plastered against the walls, C-SPAN cameras humming like angry bees. The air is thick, saturated with stale coffee, sweat, cheap perfume, and a tension you can almost feel on your skin. Everyone senses something is about to explode. At the witness table, Kash Patel has been seated since 9:30. Alone in the center, flanked by two Justice Department lawyers pretending to reread their notes. Tailored charcoal suit, pristine white shirt, midnight blue tie, discreet Patek Philippe watch. He wears that half-smirk he has perfected over the years, a mix of bureaucratic confidence and silent defiance. The kind of look that says, "I've testified before Congress more times than half the people in this room. You won't get me." He knows the drill by heart. Former Deputy Director of National Intelligence, former Chief of Staff at the Pentagon, former counterterrorism advisor on Trump's National Security Council in the first administration, he's survived dozens of hearings. He knows exactly how to hold the line. Feed the Republicans' arrest stats: 23,000 in 6 months, 1,400 sexual predators taken down, 4,000 children rescued. Stonewall the Democrats with classified information, ongoing investigations, or attacks on their partisan motives. Wait for the timer to run out, go home, write the after-action report, and move on. But this day, nothing will go according to plan since his confirmation. Kash Patel has carried a reputation that detonates rooms. In his book Government Gangsters, published before he was even nominated, he drew up a list of 60 enemies: career officials, prosecutors, journalists, elected representatives, anyone who had dared investigate Trump or cross him. At least 6 of them are now under FBI investigation by the very agency he now runs. He's accused of a massive purge of career agents, more than 400 fired or forcibly transferred in 6 months, the total fiasco of the Charlie Kirk assassination probe on September 10th at Utah Valley University. The killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, was only located because his own parents turned him in after reading his online confession, and above all, an absolute, stubborn silence on the classified Jeffrey Epstein files, especially on the exact number of times Donald Trump's name appears in them. 10:00 a.m. sharp. Jim Jordan gavels the hearing to order. The morning is carnage. The Democrats, perfectly coordinated, come out guns blazing. Jerry Nadler opens on the purge of senior officials. Hank Johnson denounces the politicization of the Bureau. Pramila Jayapal literally screams about the Epstein files until Jordan cuts her mic with an exasperated "Ma'am, your time has expired." But it's Eric Swalwell who lands the most memorable blow before the lunch break. In a calm, almost surgical voice, he corners Patel. How many times does Donald Trump's name appear in the classified Epstein files? Once?
No.
500 times?
No.
100 times?
No.
Then how many? Patel refuses to answer. He tries a pathetic deflection about crime in California. Swalwell presses. Do you think it's your job to know the number? Patel talks national security. Then comes the fatal question. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in those files? Yes or no? And there it is. The director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation starts reciting the alphabet. B, C, he says, in the mocking tone of a kindergarten teacher. The room is stunned. Not shocked, stunned. Pure disbelief. Swalwell delivers the ice-cold closer. We will take your evasiveness as consciousness of guilt. The clip explodes online within minutes. Hashtag ABCFBI shoots to worldwide trending. Memes flood in. Patel as a Sesame Street character. Patel as a malfunctioning robot. Patel as a first grader stalling for time. Body language experts zoom in. He adjusts his tie 17 times in an hour. His pupils dilate like a prey animal's. He licks his gums. An extreme stress tell. He picks up and sets down his pen 43 times in 2 minutes. The specialist podcasts dissect every micro-expression. This man is not in control, they conclude. This man knows he's in over his head. Patel is still hanging on with a classic playbook. Classification, talking points, ad hominem. It usually works, usually. When Jim Jordan, visibly drained, finally yields the floor to Jasmine Crockett, the chair recognizes the gentle lady from Texas for 5 minutes. The room is already on the verge of implosion. Jasmine Crockett. Texas 30th District, Dallas and southern suburbs, 53% Black, 29% Hispanic, solidly Democratic. Elected in 2022. Former public defender specializing in civil rights cases. Famous for her machine gun delivery, theatrical timing, and razor-sharp one-liners that slice like switchblades. She's already internet royalty for the Trump or trans line that forced Republicans to admit they cared more about Donald Trump than about trans kids, and for the legendary clash with Marjorie Taylor Greene over fake eyelashes, an error that became a battle cry for Black women in Congress. That day, she has watched Patel all morning, taking notes, waiting her turn like a predator. When Jordan finally calls her name, she doesn't even look up from her papers. She starts in a weary, almost bored tone, the voice of a teacher who has run out of patience with a particularly annoying student. So much has happened today. I don't even know where to start. She lets the silence hang then. So let me just make sure we start with a few facts. Facts, not opinions. First stroke of genius. She instantly positions herself as the only adult in a room full of circus performers. She lists them without once looking at Patel. Fact number 1. Christopher Wray was appointed FBI director by Donald Trump. A killer reminder, Wray wasn't deep state. He was Trump's own pick. And Trump fired him to install Patel. 2 directors fired by the same president. Maybe the problem isn't the deep state. Maybe it's Trump's judgment. I'm perfectly willing to say I disagree with a lot of Donald Trump's decisions, especially when it comes to the people he puts in very important positions, including this one. Then she finally raises her eyes, locks onto Patel, and drops the line that will go down in history. But when I say you're the least qualified FBI director in the entire history of the FBI, that's real. Because you're the only one who never served a single day inside the FBI before walking through the door. And yet we're supposed to believe you're the best thing since sliced bread. Patel, stung, makes the fatal mistake. He interrupts. That's not true, he snaps, indignant. Jasmine Crockett doesn't flinch. She looks at him with icy, almost maternal contempt and delivers the 5 words that will rack up 47 million views. I didn't ask you a question. Dead silence. No gasps, just one collective inhale. Everyone instantly understands. The director of the FBI has just been put in the corner like a child, publicly, surgically, without raising her voice. And the most beautiful, most artistic part? She keeps going as if nothing happened. As if Patel were a mosquito she just swatted away. Now, what I want to get into is why you are a failure. Failure. Not I have concerns. Failure. Absolute. And frankly, we just need to tell you bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sing-song. The way you dismiss a kid who's overstayed his welcome. The condescension is exquisite. Patel turns scarlet, then crimson. His knuckles go white, gripping the edge of a table. He looks everywhere except at Crockett, at his notes, at his lawyers, who are now staring at their shoes like they've never seen footwear before, at his glass of water, as if he's considering drowning himself in it. She continues, methodical, like a prosecutor laying out evidence to a jury. The illegal purge before he was even confirmed. The investigations opened under Ray that Patel now calls witch hunts. The fact that white supremacists are the only ones who feel safe under his leadership. The Charlie Kirk assassination. Even with an online confession, you didn't find the killer. His parents had to hand him to you. The 14-year timeline he quoted just to refill vacancies while firing the best people. She finishes, one last time, staring him dead in the eyes. You are a failure. And we just need to tell you bye-bye. The timer buzzes. Jim Jordan, exhausted, bangs the gavel with a captured on-mic sigh of pure exasperation. The gentle lady's time has expired. That sigh goes viral too. Within 2 hours, the clip has passed 8 million views. By the next morning, 47 million. Spencer Hakimian's tweet, Crockett, you're the least qualified director in FBI history. Patel, that's not true. Crockett, I didn't ask you a question, LOL. Becomes the most shared political moment of the month. In the next 48 hours, 2 narratives clash. On the left, Crockett is an absolute hero. She did not stutter. On the right, outrage over the factual error. Comey, Ray, and Mueller had never been field agents either. Frantic reposting of the 23,000 arrests in 6 months. Patel's resume. Federal prosecutor, NSC, Pentagon. But the fact checks come too late. In the viral arena, factual truth is secondary. What matters is who owned whom. And Crockett won. No contest. Yet the harshest truth stays buried beneath the noise. Kash Patel is still director of the FBI. He still has his 10-year term. He is still carrying out his purge. He is still investigating his enemies list. He is still botching high-profile cases. Jasmine Crockett made him look like a fool for 60 seconds, but he still holds the real power. 35,000 agents, wiretaps, files, life-altering decisions. She still only has the microphone and 5 minutes. This viral moment is not accountability. It is cathartic theater. For 1 minute, the powerless made the powerful bend. Millions of people who feel helpless saw a version of justice. But it is substitute justice, symbolic victory, a clip victory, real power, the kind that decides who gets watched, who gets fired, who gets listened to, remains in Patel's hands. He absorbed the public humiliation, climbed into his black SUV, and tomorrow he will resume doing exactly what he was doing before. And that is the trap of viral politics in 2025. As long as we settle for consuming moments when the powerful get owned, nothing changes. We vent, we share, we laugh, we scroll on. The powerful take the media hits knowing another scandal will dominate the timeline in 72 hours. They keep the institutions. They keep the levers. Jasmine Crockett gave the public 60 seconds of poetic justice. Real justice, the kind that changes laws, installs guardrails, stops an FBI director from purging his opponents, requires organizing, time, and the unglamorous grind that never gets 47 million views. I didn't ask you a question will live forever as a perfect line, an anthology piece, a t-shirt, a sample, an eternal meme. But it is still just a line. And lines, no matter how brilliant, do not overturn power structures. They just let us believe, for one fleeting moment, that they already have. Meanwhile, the powerful smile, go home and keep ruling because at the end of the day, they still have the FBI, and we only have the clip.